And here we go. We're now on to episode 7 of our pirate campaign, and our crew have already picked out their brand new crew name of the Suicidal Sailors, which after last session's episode was almost perfectly apt.
Arr!
Our lovely crew split up to try and accomplish multiple tasks. Bhajiri and Merrisea, accompanied by Tarin, had attempted to chase down the escaped slaver. Tarin got wildly lost and went looking for Mug instead. And found Mug in the Shattered Hand Tavern, which, to all intents and purposes, was a shady den of thieves, assassins, smugglers, you name it, where Mug took a job to assassinate Silas the Bastard. They proceeded to try to track down Silas by visiting all the ships that had come from Freeport to varying degrees of success is probably the politest way to put it. And they are still wandering the docks with not too many in the way of clues. A small group with Bingo, Whisp, and Edric went to the markets to go stock up on some supplies and found a couple of interesting characters there. And yes, Bingo, you did manage to place an order.
Yay!
And that brings us up to Bhajiri, who was in the process of chasing down that slaver. So, Bhajiri, you've chased in the direction where you believe he's gone. You can kind of catch sight of him every now and again. And along the way, you occasionally have looked over your shoulder and you realise that you've lost Tarin somewhere, but Merrisea has been roughly keeping up. And then as you make it around a corner, you hear a giant crash and Merrisea appears to have done her typical and gone tumbling right through the middle of a shop.
There is a facepalm.
So, deciding that you still need to chase down this slaver, you've left Merrisea to sort herself out and just continued to go bolting on.
Yeah, but Jury's gonna shout back to Merrisea, just... If you get lost, meet me back at the ship!
You hear a lot of swearing and the occasional meow.
Aww.
Oh, that's just a kitten. I was so confused for a second.
Alrighty. So, Bhajiri, I'll get you to do a perception check. And I will check with the market crew. You were on your way back to the Cirrus to drop off your giant amount of loot that you purchased.
And socks.
Yes, your 50 pairs of socks.
Yes.
No regrets.
Oh, yeah,
And
that
your
happened.
giant hat with a peacock feather.
And your new
Hey,
title is a
I
lord.
am wearing that. I am wearing that hat.
And don't forget the title is a lord. Lord of Socks.
Ah, yes. England, our lord.
Edric, to your knowledge, you're fairly certain that a gold piece don't get you a title anywhere.
Yeah, but I'm not going to tell Bingo that. I'm tempted to wait until he tries to use it like a wager of nobility to a girl. And then I'll warn him afterward.
So cruel.
Of course.
Bingo, you also got off Kin, the alchemist herbalist, who was exploding
Yeah.
his shop on a regular basis, a strange potion,
Yeah.
of which you were only told that each drop had a different effect.
Yeah. Very excited to start using this one.
You bought a potion of many things.
A potion of many things.
Draw or drop.
And that brings us to Mug and Tarin. You were still wandering around the docks. You are not too far from where the Cirrus is. And you had crossed off all ships except for the Wanderer.
Yep.
So were the two of you planning to continue looking for ships, or are you going to look for the rest of your crew?
If
think we're
Mug,
Yep.
I was
go
gonna
for it.
say if Mug is happy, I'd quite like to look for the Wanderer.
Yep. Yes. That's what
Fair
I was
enough.
thinking as well. Let's finish this.
Yeah. Hopefully without any death.
Well.
Rightio. So, yep. Bhajiri, you just catch sight of what looks like to be the slaver as he tries to duck around a corner, and he seems to be leaving the district you're in and heading east. And for the record, there is in the pinned messages a map of the city.
Oh,
Since you weren't there last session, Bhajiri.
excellent.
It even comes with a list of the locations. You kind of have to zoom into the larger picture to get an idea of where the numbers are. So you ran off towards where number 4 is. You are now heading east towards where number 6 is. And number 6 is the Shattered Hand.
Okie dokie.
Right, yeah. So you've continued to chase him, occasionally catching sight of him and losing sight amongst crowds and that. Everybody else, can you just do a perception check for me?
Yep.
We'll roll it with 3d6, right?
Yep.
Is that including seeing?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh. Do we add something to it?
If you've got seeing, then you can add +2.
Probably don't.
And your normal perception as well,
Yep.
right?
Yes, if you got perception bonus, you add your perception bonus.
17 with.
In the
6
meantime,
plus
Bhajiri, you keep giving chase, and it seems like he is slowly running out of steam. You see him run into a building guarded by a very, very large orc who doesn't really look too much sideways at the fella.
Okay.
I have a question for the roll. So do I just add my perception modifier to
Yep,
it?
your perception modifier.
Okay.
Rightio. Those of you that have rolled higher than a 13 have noticed that there are an increased number of guards on the street than there were before, and that they seem to be sort of directing people to head home or to their lodgings.
Can I
And
go up to a guard?
you may. Are you going to directly approach, or are you going to just sort of try and get close?
I'm gonna directly approach.
As you do, the guard turns to you and almost as if he's got better things to do, he just says, Head back to your lodging, sailor. Curfew will be in effect soon enough.
Curfew?
Yes, curfew.
Why?
Well, if you hadn't noticed, there was a war going on.
Wait, a war? Where?
The free cities are under attack by the Shyak. What the heck do you call that? A walk in the
Oh, yeah,
park?
no. We just murdered like one of those ships, so don't worry. We got it under control.
Right. And the elders are going to just leave everything up to you, aren't they, friend? No, they've...
Well, sometimes you need to trust the one who's best with their weapons.
His eyes narrow slightly. Enough of that. On your way, and if I see you on the streets after curfew, me and my friends will have a talk.
I got official orders to head to the embassy, though. Is it okay if I head there instead of to my lodging?
He swears and goes, go and do whatever those tosspots over at the embassy want you to do, and then get off the street.
Sounds good. Mind if I take a colleague with me to protect me?
Yeah, you'll need every protection you want and can get your hands on when you go anywhere near those slime balls.
I fully agree with you there.
And with that, the guard just walks right past you and starts talking to some of the shopkeepers and basically demanding they shut up shop.
Okay,
As far
with
as
that,
you
I'll
can,
turn back to the Cirrus.
yeah, as far as you can tell, this seems to be a new curfew. People didn't really appear to be very ready for it.
Wait, we incited a war? Okay.
Yeah, did we cause that war, or was that...
Well, Freeport was attacked before we did anything major, so we didn't necessarily start the war. We did entice it a bit by like bringing
Right.
it here.
We didn't start the fire.
Fair dues. Fair dues.
I'm pretty sure that song's already on my my Bhajiri playlist. I'm not even joking.
I'm sure it would have happened without us as well. Glyn,
Yep.
Mug is going to be ignoring the soldiers. It's none of his business if there are soldiers in the streets, and he's not interested in what they want.
Not a problem at all. The two of you are near the docks. The soldiers around there don't appear to be putting in as much effort, since most of the sailors and crews are just pointing at their ships as if that's their lodgings.
Yeah,
Smug bastards.
I mean, technically, yeah.
Bhajiri is. Would Bhajiri be aware of these goings on as well?
There doesn't seem to be anywhere near as many of the soldiers in the district you're in. To be honest, there's no one on the streets anyway, and when there is someone on the street, they're in a damn hurry to get off it.
Okay. Well, making a mental note of the building that this slaver ran into, Bhajiri is going to head back to this ship.
Yep.
To
plait his hair.
To do that and also formulate a plan of attack.
Fair enough. So the building in itself looks like it used to be a tavern. Its windows are boarded up. There is a very large orc standing at the front in leather armor, leaning on a hammer.
Schnack.
There is a sort of beaten up sign hanging off it that says the Shattered Hand.
Shattered. Bhajiri will remember that.
So you make your way back towards the ship, and based on the timing of when you left, you will arrive roughly about the same time as the others from the market get there.
Hello.
So, we have somewhere that I might want to have a look at with a fair few members of the crew tomorrow.
Okay.
Nobody should be allowed to escape us, and I think I know exactly where the bastard who escaped went.
Well, now that I've got permission to walk the streets after the curfew, we should just head there and murder the bitch.
No. I do not want them to be murdered. I want to make an example out of them.
Kill all the filthy rat and we send them down to the rat.
A few minutes later, Bingo arrives, heaving a big sack. Kill! Yes!
Bhajiri's going to offer a hand to see. Do you want help?
No! These
I
are
tried,
my
buddy, I
socks.
tried.
And he's gonna put his hand up to his face and whisper to Edric and be like, "Should we be worried?"
It's just socks, buddy. They don't explode. At least they don't explode.
Yet!
Now we should be worried. With that, I'm gonna actually offer a
This
plan
is
as well.
Bhajiri's reaction.
Yay! With that, Edric is actually gonna offer an option as well for something to do. So, while we're all stuck here because of the curfew, who fancies a journey away from this ship for a bit?
Not planning
Yes.
to kill anyone, are you?
Not yet. I'm mostly trying to get a reward for something I did earlier.
Sure, I'll tag along.
Sure! Just let me deposit my socks.
Yes, of course.
Heave!
We have half an hour to spare, so you can get onto the ship.
Very slowly up the gangplank. Very
gonna-
slowly down.
I'm gonna suddenly, with the butt of the rifle, push the sack along a bit to help her it get the socks on the ship.
Be nice.
Well, at least this time I didn't trip him.
Yeah,
And
I'll
with
just
that-
go heave them off to his room, and we'll put on the most hideous pair possible. Non-pair, non-matching pair.
With that, I'm actually gonna turn to the people here and they'll say, well, does anyone know where the embassy is? Oh wait, it was that fucking mansion, right, Glyn?
Yep.
The goddamn mansion. Okay. So I'm going to that mansion if anyone feels like joining me.
I feel like, as captain, I shouldn't go,
You shouldn't.
but I'm going to.
That's why you're our favourite captain.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
You're welcome to join. Just be careful about the words you use.
Oh, do not worry. I am definitely good with words. Bhajiri is not pulling a convincing face.
Bingo
just go-
believes him.
I'll just go, when in doubt, Sugar is good with words. I'll just
Please no
point out,
murder.
not yet. Do you know how heavily guarded that place is? I first need to scout it out.
What do you mean, yet? Okay, no, I'm definitely coming. You need supervision.
You're welcome to join. I'm just gonna have a conversation. Here, I'll even put my gun back in its holster.
There will be a loud sigh.
With that, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna look up the gangplank to see where Lil One is staying. You almost there?
Tarin, you and Mug walk near the Cirrus, heading off towards where you've last been pointed. The last ship on your list
Okey-dokey.
is. So you can see a small gathering of people at the end of the gangplank and a very, very large sack being dragged up the gangway.
I wonder what somebody's bought. Obviously had fun at the market.
Oh wait, is the Cirrus our ship? I thought we
Yep.
were going to the Wanderer.
You are passing past the Cirrus to get towards the Wanderer. The sack is roughly the size of Bingo, so you're not entirely certain if it is someone dragging Bingo in a sack up to the ship, or if it is Bingo dragging a Bingo-sized sack.
Tarin, as you walk up...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you
go
go
ahead,
first,
sorry.
please.
No,
Sure.
go first.
I was just going to say, Tarin's just going to do that thing where he kind of, as he walks, his head kind of gets slightly left behind as he's trying to, see what's going on. What were you saying?
Oh, just basically that Mug would have a look and vaguely wonder if this was the ship where he was meant to come back to, and then turn back to go to this Wanderer thing.
Right, okay, cool. So we head on to the Wanderer.
You walk not too much further down from where you are, so that's another jetty or two, so you can still within rough distance of the Cirrus to see where the ship is.
I
And
feel like this might be necessary later on.
and you find yet another trade ship. This one, however, is crewed largely by orcs. And they are in the middle of loading it up.
Great! Had such luck with orcs so far.
Maybe you should let Mug do the
Quite
talking.
lucky.
I think that's what Tarin is going to do. Is going to kind of push Mug slightly forward, stand behind him, and be like, "Why don't you talk this time?"
Because that's a
And
great
let him
idea.
go. Well, when I told him not to talk, it went even worse. So
Oh.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of crew activity. It looks like they are preparing to load up a cargo in preparation of sailing soon. There are tons and tons of crates and boxes being lifted aboard. There is a small amount of humans amongst the crew also helping. The one thing that is obvious is that they all are wearing pretty much matching uniforms. The only person to stand out is a large orc female who, although is wearing a very similar uniform, has patches on the armbands and a much more decorative design, almost like a military officer.
oh, okay. How near to the plank is the gang walkway place, whatever it's called, bit the entrance? How near is she to the entrance?
She is standing up on deck of the ship, but near the gangway, and she's watching the crew making their way aboard and loading the cargo, and on the way back down, occasionally barking an order.
Okay.
Despite the fact they look like a trade ship, they are moving with almost military precision.
Right. So is that something Tarin would have noticed,
They are
or would that have
being
gone a bit over his head?
they're being very, very efficient for what you've seen of the other merchant ships.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Mug is still planning to just walk up to them, unless Tarin is trying to stop him. He's just walking up to them to talk to them.
I think after Tarin has noticed that they are a bit more efficient and a bit more military looking, then his mind's going to flash back to whatever the other ship is called. I can't remember the something.
That was the Hind from memory.
The Hind, yeah. It's going to flash back to the Hind, pull Mug to a stop, and be like, "This." What's he going to say? We need to be very careful here, Mug. They look to be very, very, very good fighters.
Oh, that's good then. Then we
yeah.
should make good friends of them. I mean, maybe
Well-
they want to have a little sparring session.
Well, I'm sure you could ask them if they wanted to do that later, but for right now, we need to stay on their good side.
Yes, we need to do this job. We need to know if
Yeah.
they have this
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. Yeah, so I'm not sure I should say it, but I'm going to ask, could you let me do the talking again?
Sure, go ahead. But if it drags on like it did last time as well.
I'll be quick in my asking.
Yes, let's do this.
Okay, brilliant. And Tarin's gonna head towards the ship.
The officer is no longer watching the crew and is actually watching you approach.
Right. I'm going to come up to whoever that's near the bottom of the gangway, whatever it's called, and ask to speak to the officer, because I'm going to take a punt and hope that although she's obviously some sort of officer, she will be trained than the sailors or the.
She sticks her hand out to stop one of the crewmen from heading down the gangway and steps in front and makes her way down to the dock and turns to face you. And what brings you to my ship?
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm really sorry to be a bother, but we are looking for a friend of ours. His name is Silas, and he's got a really big beard. We know he came from Freeport, and you're the only other ship left to try.
We took on some refugees from Freeport before we made our way here. Although I'm going to presume this Silas friend of yours is human. Am I right?
Sorry, that cut out.
Oh,
I didn't hear
sorry.
anything.
She says, I'm going to presume that this Silas fellow of yours is human.
You cut out again.
Yeah.
Bear with me.
Oh no, Mug, not the poster. Put it away.
The wanted poster.
The wanted poster.
So she says, I'm going to presume this Silas fellow of yours is human. Oh, god damn it, is human.
Yes, he's human.
We didn't take on very many men. We didn't take on very many men at Freeport. It was mainly women and children. Most of the men were fighting up where we were at the docks. And
yes.
those men that came aboard definitely did not have beards.
Right, I see. Well, they must have been on the Hind then. Well, thank you very much. It was lovely to talk to you. If you do happen to see him, we're on the Cirrus, so if you happen to see him or hear of him, could you send word?
We can do, but we do leave port tomorrow, so if we...
Oh, right, I see.
Good luck on
We
finding your
have a
friend.
poster. We have a
Mug,
poster of
no!
his name.
Mug, no!
She turns to you, Mug, and sort of raises an eyebrow slightly. A poster, so
Tarin's
you
doing
say.
his best to get to shush Mug. It's obviously not going to be very, it's not going to work, I'm assuming.
Well, it's just to show how he looks.
Oh no.
But if you are certain that you don't have him, I mean, you don't need to see him. But just in case you see him,
If by chance we come across him in the next couple of hours, we will send him towards the Cirrus.
Thank you, thank you. Phew, thank you so much. We should be leaving now, Mug. Thank you again so much.
we are not showing them the poster.
No. We're leaving now. Thank you again so much. Thank you. Let's go.
Okay, whatever. I don't get why we don't need to, but
She heads back up to the ship, shaking her head ever so slightly.
Tarin's just gonna breathe a really big sigh of relief and just kind of, right, okay, homeward bound now, homeward bound. And start walking back to the Cirrus.
well, that didn't go very well. We still haven't found him.
No, but we are alive. I'm counting that as a bonus this evening.
As you arrive
Of
towards the
course we are
Cirrus,
alive.
I'm going to presume our lovely Bingo has finally managed to pack the socks away.
Yes. And he's now wearing two that come up to, you said they were for humans, so they probably come up to, like, his very nearly middle. So he's got on a pair of socks. He's pushed his trousers up to his knees and he's got the socks on underneath. One is bright orange with purple spots, and one is bright pink with green stripes.
Ooh, lovely and clashy.
They are brilliant. They're the only colours that Bingo owns. He's very excited.
So with that, Tarin and Mug, you will arrive at the bottom of the gangway where it appears the rest of your crew and your captain are waiting for something.
Is everyone all right? Are we going somewhere?
I'm going somewhere. I don't know about you guys.
Well, we are looking for this guy. What was his name? Cyrus?
No, sorry, this is our ship.
Cirrus.
Oh yeah,
The
what's
Cirrus.
No. We were looking for our friend, but I don't remember meeting him.
Mug. We're not looking for a friend.
Yes, we are looking for a friend.
No, he's not our friend. I lied. I made that bit up. We're just looking for a man.
But you lied to our friend.
No.
Okay, but we are looking for a bastard, right?
Don't call him that. We're never going to find him if you say that word. Are we
But
looking
that's
for
his
a...
name.
But
Hey,
how
should we
can you
do
look
that?
for someone by knowing that they're a bastard when someone who's a bastard doesn't necessarily look like a bastard? Like,
Oh, Captain. What was
No.
Oh,
It's
no.
his official name. It's his official name. Look at this poster. See?
So
It's
his-
written there.
so his name is.
Did I see the poster for a bit?
His name is Silas, Captain. Here's the poster, Edric. His name is Silas. We picked up a job at this scary inn. Mug.
They had very good beer.
Yeah, you had a lot of beer. They had a very scary orc outside. and it was just quite frankly terrifying. But we picked up this job, and supposedly this man has come with us come to Port Marley from Freeport, but we've tried all the ships and haven't really gotten anywhere.
Wait,
We're fairly certain. Oh,
What
sorry,
was
Mark?
the problem with that? What was the problem with that inn? They served the best and the most beer and the cheapest anywhere I've been. It was the best inn I've been in my whole life.
Yeah, sure.
What inn was that?
The Shattered Hand, Captain. I wouldn't go there.
Well, the Shattered Hand
Uh-huh.
is somewhere that we're planning on going tomorrow.
Oh, great!
Yay! I'd very much like to go there as well.
Yay!
Yes,
Oh,
but
so
I need
if-
to finish this job before I go back to get paid.
Yeah,
So, wait, so
What was that, Captain?
But Joseph's gonna have a long sigh. He's gonna lean on his spear. So you picked up a job from a shady place.
They offered me a good job. I mean, I was told that they have good jobs there, so I went in and I picked up a job that looked easy.
Murdering someone. That's not
That
friendly.
seems but it's easy.
Depends who the target is. Do you know who this Silas fellow is?
A bastard.
He's got a fantastic
No.
beard, doesn't he?
Look, it says there he's a bastard. That's what I'm told because
But
I
you
can't
just-
actually read it.
But you just said it was his name. How is it his name if he is a bastard? You are confusing. Are you sure you want to try this? If it's this confusing before you start trying to murder them?
It doesn't
I didn't-
matter.
To be honest, I wasn't entirely sure we were supposed to be murdering them. I was just going with finding.
It says proof of death here.
Yeah, I hadn't quite got that far.
Okay,
Mug-
that should be easy enough. You just need to take the head,
Oh god.
and that's proof enough. We can do this. It's not that difficult to take someone's head. I mean, it takes a while to chop it off, but
Bhajiri's going to suddenly gasp.
I still have the poster.
Bhajiri's aware that on the poster there is a fantastic beard, though, right?
Yes.
So Bhajiri's going to gasp and be like, "I have a plan, a flawless plan." So what we can do, so that we can get into this Shattered Hand quite easily and seem like allies to the people in there, if we have our own crew member who has a fantastic beard, Edric, pretend to be this Silas.
do we cut his head off?
No, we don't cut his head off, but we bring him to them alive.
They
But
want
in
him death. We
Fake
need the head.
chains. Yeah, but we can say, "Oh, you can kill him," but before they kill him, we
I kill them.
capture the bastard who escaped us. Take him, and if we need to kill them, yeah, we kill them. But that's easy entry, sorted.
I don't know. This sounds complicated. I would just rather cut someone's head off and take it.
I'd also like to cut in here, Captain. He's quite difficult to find. We've been to all the ships. The
Which is
only
why
one
we
we
just
couldn't get
faked
onto
it.
was the
'Cause
Hind. But
Clearly, if the person who escaped our ship ran back to the Shattered Hand, then they're no allies of us. Because he went there for
True.
safety. So I have no issue with lying to the people that are in here and
True.
fulfilling our own aims and ambitions.
But does this not put Edric in a slightly precarious position?
I'd rather not be killed, Captain. So if they come
Okay.
even close to me, I will shoot the fuckers in their balls.
I think
Okay,
that's fair.
I have a question. Do I get paid?
No,
Then I'm not doing it.
I'm the one putting my head on the line. I also got the wanted poster, so that works out nicely.
How much did they offer to pay you, Mug?
What does it say on the poster?
It says here 5 gold.
5 gold. I remember it being more.
Oh, it was sorry,
what
15.
do I see?
15. Look,
15. Well, that's a lot of gold, to be honest.
Well-
That's a good money.
Mug, if you go with this plan instead, I will pay you 20 gold.
Ah,
Glenn, quick question.
Yep.
The poster said 100, right?
that sounds good.
Yes, it does. So Tarin and anyone who can actually see the poster, it says 100 gold.
I mean,
Captain?
20 gold is a lot of money. Yeah, that sounds good.
Captain, if you're gonna pay people for this plan, why not the one who gets closest to being murdered?
Don't worry, you'll get what it says on the poster as well.
Good. I'll take that deal. Captain, I promise to invest at least half of it into the gear that I upgrade at the ship.
Excellent. I have no qualms with that.
Captain, although I hesitate to say this, but I suppose I might be of some help because I went to the Shattered Hand today and they sort of know that I've got this job. So if I help take Edric in, they might be more inclined to believe it.
Fair.
Same for Mug
We've-
too.
I like that idea. Although I believe we should go as a larger group.
Okay.
Maybe another group far, slightly further behind. But yes,
That
I
sounds
don't
good to
know.
me.
It sounds like they would be suspicious if I suddenly bring a load of people.
You could blame it on me. Say I'm fairly certain that
Wait, you're turning robot. I heard, like, I'm fairly certain I could...
Oh, sorry. I said, I'm fairly certain they think I'm quite pathetic.
Edric is gonna laugh out loud at that. Like not just a small laugh, but like full-on belly roar.
Well, there is a reason for that. Good reason.
Hey!
Oi, don't be mean to the little one. Oh no, wait, the slightly taller little one.
Bhajiri's gonna shoot him a look.
Tarin's just gonna sigh. He's had enough of Mug today.
So, Captain, if you'll excuse me, I've got a mission.
I believe I was coming with you for that mission.
I don't need a babysitter, but you're welcome to join.
I know, but it might be fun.
Okay, but no matter what happens, I trust you all to follow my lead. Seeing as
What sort of mission is it?
I'm gonna be talking to a few people.
That sounds boring, to be honest. I would rather drink in a tavern. Like the
If you-
Shattered Hand. They have good beer.
You know what? I'll buy you an ale if you play as my bodyguard, and I'll get you the best booze in the embassy as well.
2 ales.
I'm a shoot the captain a glance, and I'll go. You want that one drunk?
But Bhajiri's gonna just shake his head and just be like, no.
I'm gonna turn back to Mug and say, Captain says one, sorry.
I'm not going to get drunk from 2 ales. Have you not
2
looked
ounces
at
is fine,
me
don't
drink?
worry about it. Have 3.
Okay, Captain promised you
Right.
3 now, so will you
No,
join us?
it's three on the behalf of Edric, to clarify. And
You-
I
Bhajiri's going to
accept.
smirk and wink.
I accept.
I'm gonna grab the helmet that's that's dangling on my hip. I'm gonna unhook it and smack Bhajiri in the face with it, but like gently. not like full force, just like wave it at him so that the it's a Spartan helmet, so with those like hairs on the top. I'm gonna like slap him in the side of the face just with the hair, so not with the metal helmet.
Bhajiri's not going to react for a second. He's going to look Edric in the face and sneeze at him, and then laugh. Those hairs, they tickled my nose. What can I say? And he's just going to laugh, continue to laugh.
I'll laugh as well, and then like I'll say, "So, who's joining me then?" I believe Whisp is joining. Bingo, you're welcome, but please don't blow it up yet.
Okay.
We might find a chance for that later if we need to.
We will be back before dawn, won't we?
Probably.
Okay.
So
Well, I will be going as well, obviously, and I just hope that you will be more lucky that the previous person I was a bodyguard to. Apparently, he died.
And it seems as since everyone else is going, can I come too?
Yes, of course. We're going to do something important to me, though, so I'd like it if none of you show, for example, the picture of Silas.
Sure. That's no problem. I can look after it, or if you're happy to look after it.
If you
But I will
don't
need
mind,
it.
if you don't mind, I'll put it in my inside pocket, so
Okay.
you'll know where it is, and if you ever need it, you'll just be able to tell me where it is, and I'll give it to you.
Okay, cool.
Sorry for the slight munching sounds, by the way. I has popsicle.
Ooh, yummy.
Is that in character, or...?
We need a popsicle factory at the ship.
Bingo
I
produces
concur.
a popsicle from his back pocket.
Edric is gonna look at it, but not trust it. And with that, I'm gonna march to the fucking mansion.
So, as you make your way through the streets towards where the embassy is, you notice that it has gotten an awful lot quieter. There is barely anyone out and about, just the occasional patrol of guards.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
All I heard in my mind was the little troll singing that from the Trolls movie.
It doesn't take you too long to find the embassies. It is the most garish buildings you have ever seen. A bunch of large mansions, roughly side by side, and you can tell roughly which nation they're from by flags and so on out the front of them.
At least those of us who know about nations.
Yeah, those of you that know the different nation flags, especially the northern nations, can pick your embassy out pretty quickly.
I think I'd recognize a few of them.
Yep.
I'm gonna head straight towards the one where Bukkaird is.
Yep.
And do I notice any other flags that indicate which royal family lives there?
You don't see any other Bukkaird flags other than the main one for the nation and a smaller one that indicates House Bigatel.
Okay, I'm gonna sigh and walk closer. Oh, before I walk closer,
Yep.
I'm gonna specifically pull my hood a bit lower, make sure my glasses are over my eyes, and hide my beard behind the scarf.
Yep. Noted.
Seeing this, Bingo will adjust his face mask and make sure it's covering his whole face. and adjust the plume feather in his Sherlock hat. Make it extra creepy.
You can see the building down the road. It has a small group of guards out the front, only 2 or 3 of them. And the lights on the downstairs level are on, and it appears like there is a little bit of activity at the main entrance, indicating that people are still up and about.
Ah, good. I'm gonna head over there.
One of the guards sees your group approaching and holds a hand up. Oh there, you lot.
Hello.
And what's your business here at this time of night?
Glenn, out of character, I'm gonna need a little bit of a recounting of what the letter was, because I have that letter from Ala Pond, right?
Yep. So you have the letter from her that was indicating that she wanted to speak with you further and to seek her out for a reward.
Okay. And I know that Alara was from Bukkaird.
You know she is from Bukkaird, from House DuPont. So a house that was somewhat friendly with Begatal, but she doesn't belong to the same house.
Okay. I'm gonna walk up to the guard, and I'm gonna say I'm on official business. Lady Alara Dupont asked me to visit her.
The guard looks surprised at that and looks towards one of the others and goes, Sergeant, this one here is saying that he's here for Alara DuPont. The ambassador say anything about that? I thought she was meant to be on her way back home already.
She escaped Freeport after an attack. I saved her.
The sergeant sort of looks at you and the rest and then turns back to you and goes, you got any proof of that, lad? Because we've not been told to expect any visitors.
This is the royal seal for DuPont.
He takes the letter, glances it over, and then holds it back out to you and goes,
Thank you.
come on in and I'll get the ambassador for you.
Thank you.
So the other 2 guards part and take up positions, and the sergeant heads up towards the main door.
Sir,
He stops for a second and glances back.
can my companions join in as well?
Yeah, they can wait in the waiting room with the rest. There's no problem with that.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that I wouldn't impose on this.
Well, we don't want to get in trouble with the locals. There is curfew after all, so we'll let you in.
Thank you. Guys, come on. We can enter, but we'll have to wait in the waiting room for a bit.
He opens the main door and leads you in, pointing off to a side room, and goes, you will find refreshments in there. I will go find the ambassador for you.
Thank you.
Oh, this is a fancy place. Don't like fancy places.
I'll head over to the refreshments and get a drink, and then realize that I have my scarf over my mouth and just hand the drink to someone else, trying to see
Monk.
if anyone grabs it.
Buck takes it.
So this room is screaming wealthy. It has extremely plush furniture, a chandelier in it that looks like the roof can barely hold it in place. It is gaudy and covered in gilt leaf gold, really large artworks. It's pretty much designed to try and impress and intimidate those that come into it.
Can I just casually sit there, a bit wide-legged, men spreading in the chair, and just
Yep.
like slouched down, just sitting there waiting.
I don't like these places. They smell bad.
Bhajiri's going to jump onto one of the sofas, and he's just going to like sit there, very graciously picking his nose with his toe, probably holding a drink in one hand as well, drinking it with like the pinky out as.
What sort of drinks are these drinks?
There is both chilled water and wine.
Is it good wine, or is it?
Of course, it's good wine. Have you seen the room?
Well,
It-
I have to check.
It is better wine than you have ever experienced. So
Okay.
you can take that as you will.
Ooh, seeing as you,
Mug is chugging it down.
seeing as you mentioned that my cask is empty, Glenn,
Yep.
I'm gonna fill it with wine.
Yep. I will actually ask you to do a dexterity check while you're doing that.
Okay. 6 plus 4 plus 2 plus dexterity is 3. So that makes a lot. 15.
Radio. You are pouring it in to your cask as you hear the door open, and you very, very hastily put the glass vase that was holding all the wine back without looking, and just barely get it back onto the table. So it doesn't look like you're stealing their wine.
Yay!
A very large man enters the room with the sergeant. He is overweight. He has a very, very gaudy moustache and beard, and is dressed in the most flamboyantly over-the-top outfit you have ever seen.
I'll stand up.
I like him.
I'll stand up and go full etiquette mode. Suddenly, like, no longer slouched, my back is straight, my, like, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, I could put a book on my head and walk with it without issue. That kind of stance.
Yep. He look.
Bhajiri's going to pull out his toe from his nose in shock at how well stood Edric is. And then he's going to eat it.
Oh yeah, Mug is still casually chugging the wine like.
Mug, monkey man.
What?
Come on, this is the ambassador. Show him the respect he deserves.
I'm your
Apologies.
bodyguard. I don't care about him.
The
Bhajiri wipes his foot on the sofa.
I'm gonna glare.
I'm not guarding him.
I'm gonna glare at monkey man.
Timo is being actively disappointed that there is no coffee.
The ambassador
I'm not
casually
being
looks at you
paid
all
to be polite.
and then turns to look at you, Edric, and says, "It appears that you have a very, very interesting group of guards at your disposal."
Yes.
Zap!
That said, my sergeant advised me that you were in the employ of Lady Alara DuPont.
Yes.
I must regretfully inform you that she has already departed the city. And
Was she safe and healthy when she left?
she was indeed. Anyone watching him can take a perception.
Ooh. I'm assuming seeing.
Yep, seeing.
Yeah.
Can I do anything with etiquette, knowing that, knowing how he's supposed to behave in this
Yep.
kind of situation?
You can add your etiquette.
Nice. So that's a total of lots. 12, 17 total.
Righty.
Oh wait, perception is
Say with
3.
seeing as
Sorry.
well.
So perception, seeing, and
Yeah.
Edric's got his etiquette.
Oh, we are rolling perception. Oops,
Yes.
I didn't roll my
That's all right.
perception of noticing that we are rolling perception.
So Edric and not a duck, Bhajiri. You're both fairly certain he's lying. You're not 100% certain about what particularly he's lying about, but he's definitely not been telling you the truth.
Could I use my stunt points to?
Oh Jesus, 6 stun points.
Yeah. Part of me is just like, I want to flirt.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, you could enrage so that he has to punch you, and then we can kill him without like the guards bothering.
Oh yeah, he's going. Bhajiri is going to say like enraging to enrage. He's going to be like, now I'm not the most official and respectable person, but surely lying is less respectable than someone who tends to tell the truth, right? He's picking his nose with his tail at this point. By the way.
Wait, who is lying? What are you? Why are you talking about lying?
Don't wither your little head about it, Mag.
Ambassador's face goes several shades of red and purple before he goes, "Get out now," and then he just leaves the room, shortly to be replaced by the sergeant and a very, very pale-looking soldier.
I haven't finished my drink yet. I need to finish the drink first.
Sergeant.
The sergeant's sort of looking shocked. It's like, I haven't seen him that pissed in ages. What did you do?
Bhajiri's gonna do that like shrug.
Can I turn to the sergeant and ask him what's up with Alara Dupont?
The sergeant looks to you, looks back in the direction of the door where the ambassador's gone through, and he taps the soldier on the shoulder next to him and goes, "Guard the door, lad." And this pale-faced soldier walks out of the room and shuts the door behind him. And the sergeant then turns to look at you and goes, "You do not have very long, but convince me why I should tell you anything."
Seeing as my words are not working well tonight, could I roll for this?
Go for it.
Like, I'll try to think of something to actually say while I roll. Ooh. Ooh. That's a good number. That's a good number. That's a fun number. Is this etiquette as well?
You can use and add your etiquette. You are used to dealing with soldiers and nobles of your nation.
4 plus 2 plus 2. 5 SP is 18. 18 with 5 stunt points.
Right here. The sergeant crosses his arms and then sort of glances back at the door and he goes, "You didn't hear it from me, but you do need to get down into the basement. There's only one way in to there, and that is through this house."
And where would I find the stairs?
Best way is through the kitchen. I'll be a little lax tonight, and I'll leave the door open for you.
Thank you very much, good sir.
It's, like it or not, it's for the best thing for the house. And with that, he turns to the door and he goes, "I'm going to have to ask you to leave out the front door if you don't mind, though."
Of course. And you'll leave the back door open, I guess?
He gives you a ever so slight nod.
Awesome.
So with that, he steps out and opens up the front door and gestures for you to walk through.
I'll shake his hand and tell him, or at least I'll offer him my hand, and I'll tell him, thank you for allowing us this audience, the ambassador. Even though it was a short-lived one, it was worth my while.
You hear a shout from upstairs. It's like, that better be them leaving.
Of course, goodbye, dear ambassador.
Bhajiri's going to say toodaloo, darling.
I love how British Bhajiri is. With the T and the toodaloos.
There is now sheer expletives coming from upstairs.
Bhajiri looks very pleased with himself.
The door
That's very rude. Some of us are underage.
The door shuts behind you.
I tossed Bhajiri a silver coin as a thank you for like the way he handled that.
Bhajiri's going to smile and nod to Edric.
And with that, you're standing out on effectively the front porch of the mansion.
I forgot to ask how late he's gonna leave the door open. I'm gonna go on a camping trip.
So, for those of you that are going to try to make your way around to the back of the mansion, can you do a dexterity stealth check?
Of course.
What if you don't have stealth? You just do a dexterity.
Just a plain dexterity.
Okay.
That's +3 plus.
Ooh.
I rolled 2 3s, but they weren't my stunt die, so now I have like no stunt points.
No, you do get for any doubles.
For any doubles.
For any doubles.
Oh, nice. 3 stunt points. And that's role-playing stunts or exploration?
You can use... To be honest, it's probably best to be using exploration. Role-playing is typically if you're in a conversation.
Yeah, it looked like that as well. I'd
I
like
feel
to...
like I tried to stretch the definitions for the stunts as much as possible.
I'd like to do speedy search in the advantageous position, and then advantageous positioning into a place that's useful from where I would.
Yep. So, as you go around the side of the house, you slip out of the lights and into the shadows, and make your way through the relatively extensive gardens, making your way through the sort of very decorative, opulent gardens that have fountains and a small hedge maze. You dodge some of the guard patrols that are rather loudly meandering their way through, at the very least making a pretense of keeping a keen watch. You find a section that is rose bushes and rather tall hedges that from which you can sort of hide behind and watch the main back door entrance. There are 2 doors there. There's a larger one and a smaller one off to the side that appears to lead to maybe servants' quarters or something like that. You're not entirely certain, but if you were going to go with your gut, you'd say that was potentially where a kitchen would be.
Awesome.
So you set yourself up and watch, and about 15 minutes after you've set up your sort of camp, you see the door open. The sergeant stick his head out and do a pretend sort of walk around and look out, and then he walks back in and leaves the door ajar behind him.
Awesome. I'm gonna look around and see if it's safe for me to head there.
Yep. I'll get you to do a perception check.
I'd like to take a swig of coffee from Bingo as well.
Just don't finish it.
Thank you. My perception is 17 plus looking at shit. 20 total.
Rightio. You take the time and do a thorough, good search of the grounds around you and keep tabs of where the various patrols are. You time it and you know exactly when to walk across when no one should be able to see you.
Okay. Oh wait, I miscalculated. It's 19.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So you know roughly how long you have to sort of gather everyone into the house quickly.
What did you ask, Wisp? Lauren?
What?
I thought you said something as well. What?
When you coughed, I said, did the coffee go down the wrong way?
Oh. Yep. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna signal for everyone to come in as well. And we'll quickly head to the door that or at least I'll quickly head to the door that the captain opened, and I'll urge everyone to hurry.
Bhajiri will make sure the others go in before he does.
I've only got little legs.
Should we carry the tiny one?
Nobody carries a bingo.
Well, if it can't come with us, it just stays here.
I can run.
Yep.
So you make your way through the gardens stealthily to the door, and sure enough, as you get there, it is ajar.
Do we have to roll stealth?
You've already rolled, so no, you're good, because...
Oh, that dexterity was that, yeah.
Yep.
I'm clearly the least stealthy. For obvious reasons. I'm still learning this.
Edric, do you glance through the door?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd rather not get decapitated within seconds of...
You look into it, and it is indeed a rather large kitchen, something that could quite feasibly have many, many cooks and kitchen hands working at the same time to do feasts and banquets. It is massive.
My inner Varric is enjoying this.
Yeah, Tarin's having a good look around and seeing what they've got and kind of glowing a little with excitement.
Oh, is there any actual food that
Is
we
there
can take?
ale?
There
Oh.
is a very large... There is a very large pantry up one end. There is a couple of barrels in a corner, and there is a door near the pantry.
I really want to look in the barrels.
I'm a sneak to the door.
Yep.
Oh, do they have fancy knives?
There is some cooking instruments and the accruals of what a chef might require sort of scattered around. You're fairly certain you could find a number of sharp knives as needed.
I'd like to find a meat cleaver, specifically a meat cleaver, and a few steak knives.
I will get you to do a perception for that one. And Bingo, you lift the lid of one of the barrels and find a It takes you a bit of work because you have to effectively shimmy up the side of the barrel and wedge yourself between it and the wall to then lift the lid, as it's slightly taller than you are.
Cool.
As you lift the lid, you find a very, very deep red wine in there.
Ah.
Ooh, the wine before was nice, and then a mug.
But
Well, I
Bingo's
guess
underage. He
starts
doesn't
from
like
there.
wine. He'll sniff it. Nah. Close the lid. Is there another barrel?
No. Mug is not letting you close the lid. Mug is starting to shovel out some wine and drink
Get
it.
one.
If it's
I'll
good
leave you
wine.
to it, and I'll go sniff the other barrel. Does it smell like it's wine as well?
You find multiple barrels of wine in the corner.
Is it good
Bhajiri
wine?
is-
What was that?
Is it good wine?
It is the same wine that was out in the foyer.
Oh boy. Yeah, Mug is drinking it.
And Edric, yes, with that, takes you a bit of time, but you do manage to find what you need.
Nice. I'm gonna store them all carefully in like a little tea towel inside of my backpack.
Yep.
Bhajiri is going to look around for fruit.
Yep. So you make your way around. You don't see anything out on any surfaces or so on, but your eyes do fall on the pantry. Are you going to wander on over and start raiding the pantry?
Fuck yes. He's not raiding. He's just going to have a look if there's anything that tickles his fancy.
So you... So you open up the giant pantry door, and there is a ton of space in there, and food. There's like legs of ham hanging up. There is bundles and baskets of fruit and everything. You find more food than you would ever know what to do with. And at the very, very other end of the pantry, there is another door.
Bhajiri's going to like tap the tip of his spear on the ground to like make a noise to get people's attention. And just be like, this way.
Thank you. I'm gonna. Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yes, you
Oh, shit,
can,
Wisp.
Wisp. Based on that, I will get you to roll. Can you do a intelligence check? And let me just double check if that is traps.
Intelligence would be the most sensible. I mean, it's not really a courtesy or communication institution.
Do.
Would it come under dexterity for like, like setting it up?
Dexterity is actually disarming and detecting them. So it is more intelligence engineering to set it up.
Ooh, even engineering.
Yep. So, Wisp, you set up a tripwire using a bit of twine that you've got your hands on. And you hook it up around the door frame and bundle up the knives that Edric has pulled out searching for his cleaver, and leave that hanging just above the door to swing into whatever sets off your tripwire.
Probably tell everyone about that.
You're fairly certain it'll be a nice surprise for the first person who sets it off.
Oh, holy fucking shit. Damn! Wisp is hardcore. That's fucking Rambo with his traps.
Bhajiri will give like a hearty nod and a thumbs up.
Make sure none of you are the first to go through it, okay? Whatever you do.
Okay. I reckon Bingo is safe. If the knife swing into someone's face, and Bingo is like half a human in size,
Uh-huh. Where you going with this?
then Bingo is safe if if it runs underneath. So therefore, you don't need to worry about being decapitated by a knife trap.
Okay.
That mug.
Oh yeah, would Mug be safe, or would she get scalped?
How much wine has she had? She seems to be taking quite a lot.
In the meantime, Mug, do a Constitution check. And if you've got drinking, add that to it.
Yes, I have drinking. For obvious reasons.
Bhajiri, as you're looking around in there, are you going to check the door at the other end?
Bhajiri's gonna wait until, since this is Edric's show, he's gonna let Edric go first.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna go to the door and silently try to open it. Oh, and I'll also nod to Bhajiri as like a thank you again, because I don't have the silver coins to throw silver coins at him whenever I want to thank him.
How much does Constitution drinking add? Is it just one?
So it'll be plus your Constitution, and drinking is +2.
Plus 2.
Let's see how drunk the mug gets.
I think that's decent.
You've got a nice buzz going on, but you're not drunk yet.
Yet.
Oh god.
I mean, Mug is going to keep drinking as long as nothing else interesting is happening, because you gotta do something. If you can't just be like lazing around.
Fair enough. So, Edric, you go and look through the door.
Yep, that's the plan.
So you see a stone staircase leading down into a basement below the kitchens. It is not very well lit.
I'll signal for everyone to join as well, and then or at least everyone who wants to.
So
But where are we going?
Downstairs.
Oh right. Yeah, let's go downstairs. Mug is taking a mug of wine with him.
Mug, you look around for glasses or mugs and you don't find anything, so you find a small saucepan and you just fill it up from the barrel and take that with you.
That works.
So you make your way down this staircase and it winds down, getting darker as you go, until it hits a point where you can start to see that there is light up ahead.
Okay, I'd like to head towards the light up ahead.
You make your way down the rest of the staircase and find a tunnel stretching out ahead of you and a number of doors on either side, and these are very heavy set doors. They've got little metal cage bars instead of windows.
Yes.
Nearby there is a table with a lantern on it, some food and a half-drunk mug of ale.
Hey, Mug, I promised you an ale.
Not here.
Well, I promised you an ale. This is the one.
I'm already drinking wine right now. When we go to a tavern, you can get me the ales.
We'll have to see about that. No,
Well,
of
you
course.
promised 3.
No, he promised 3.
Bhajiri's gonna quietly laugh to himself.
Well, we shook on it, so 3 ales.
Yes, 1 ale.
3.
I'm so lucky that Mug can't count.
I can count to 3. I
Oh, that's-
think.
3 comes before 2. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna head.
Maybe.
I'm gonna head forwards and just like try and find Alara.
So there are 6 rooms, 3 on either side. And as you approach the first 2, you can glance through. There's not much to see in either of them. They're very, very dark. They're not lit. And there doesn't appear to be any movement in them.
That's a good sign, I guess, because that means there's no guards.
You can see from where you are that there is light in the last room on the left.
I'm gonna slowly head there.
You make your way there, and I presume you're going to glance through the...
Yes.
Yep. You see someone, you can't tell who, hanging with their arms tied up behind their back from the roof. There is bolts across their back. There is another lantern in that room, but there doesn't appear to be anyone else in there with them.
I'm gonna ask, had a rough night?
You hear a groan, but not much else.
It wasn't that bad a joke. and then I'll try to open the door.
The door clicks and opens.
Ooh, it's not locked. I'm gonna move in and like ask. I'm gonna call out her full name.
Can you roll a perception as you walk into the room?
Uh-oh.
Is that for everyone?
That would be just Edric at the minute.
That's just perception. So
Yep.
plus 3.
Hearing if you've got it.
Yes. I don't have hearing. 9 plus 7 is 16. With 4 stunt points, which I think will come in handy this time. I'd like to take advantageous positioning
Yep.
as my thingy.
Yep. You can do that. And I'll describe what just happened. As you walk through the door, you open it up and start to step through. As you do so, you hear a sound that sounds an awful lot like someone grinding their boot on stone just on the other side of the door to you.
Wait, on the other side of the door?
And
So that's inside.
inside the room.
I'm
And
putting my...
a weapon comes flying at head level and jams into the door directly at head height with you.
What kind of weapon?
It is a short sword.
Motherfucker. They tried to make me bleed, which means blood, which is not a good idea. Do I see where the weapon came from?
Yep.
Like, I heard the boot, right?
Yep, they are on the opposite side of the door to you. You can now that you know they're there, glancing through the slot, you can just make out the shape of someone who had stepped behind the door to disguise their presence.
I'm pulling out my arquebus,
Yep.
putting it head height,
Yep.
like against my shoulder, and just point that inside. And I'll go, don't you fucking move.
Communication, please.
Of course. This is not going to be etiquette, right?
It could be etiquette.
Oh, shit.
He says eloquently.
Was that a 666?
No, it wasn't, but there were 2 6s, so I got 6 stunt points for that.
Go for it.
6, 6, 4, and then communication. 12, 16, 18 total.
You
Plus
have
got all those role-playing stunts as well.
you have his complete attention at this stage.
I'm gonna go Tower of Will. Oh no, wait. I want to go Stunned Silence. Because I was tempted to go Flirt, but that's not a good idea now.
That is always a good idea.
No, I want to kill the guy.
Oh.
I'm gonna use my puns.
Or flirt with him first and then kill him.
Let's see. What's a good idea? I'm gonna use Sway the Crowd just in case there's someone nearby.
You are incredibly persuasive. You see him go dead still, and then he steps back but raises his hands, leaving his weapon wedged in the door.
Okay, I'm gonna grab the short sword.
Yep.
Offer it to Bhajiri, like, could you hold this for me?
Bhajiri will gladly take it.
And then I'll step in and I'll go, why did you try to attack me?
He's very, very pale at the moment, but now that you've stepped into the room, you can get a fair look at him. He's wearing a leather vest and has a whip and tools at his belt.
I must steal his whip. In fact, what kind of tools does he have?
They don't appear to be tools that you would enjoy having used on you.
Torturing tools?
Yes.
I'm a ask him kindly to hand all of those over before I shoot his fucking balls off.
He very, very slowly lowers his hands to his side and unbelts his belt and lets the tools drop to the floor before he kicks them over.
Good choice. Good choice. And I'm gonna.
So should I kill him now?
No, not yet. Not yet.
As well?
Not yet. But you know what? If we can make it 2 ales, you get to kill him.
No.
Okay.
I'm not giving up ales for killing people. That's work.
Okay. In that case, I'm gonna head over to Alara, and I'm gonna, or at least towards who I think is Alara.
Yep.
I'm gonna untie her.
The guy in the corner is just whimpering at this stage, and as you untie the person who's hanging from the roof, you do get a glance, and it is Alara, and she's not in the best of shape.
Also, her back was exposed. Is she what is she wearing? Because I'm tempted to give her my coat.
What clothing she is wearing is pretty tattered and torn, and probably would not hold up in a stiff wind.
I'm gonna offer her my coat for a bit. I'm gonna say I'm gonna need this back, but I think you could use it better. And then I'll hold her up. I'm gonna go. Anyone want the whip?
Bhajiri is going to put his hand up. Yes, please.
I'm gonna toss it to Bhajiri, but I'm gonna take the torture tools for myself.
Bhajiri will. Fuck. Bhajiri will remember this.
The guy in the corner just is looking panicked between you all and go. Basically, he's now just frantically saying, "He'll kill us all for this."
You realize that I'm the bigger threat here right now, right? Who will kill us all for this?
The ambassador.
Why would he kill us for this?
Because she's got the answers. She's got the clues.
What answers? What clues?
It's the key. This bleeding key that's worth starting wars over.
Which key?
I don't know. The key. I'm not paid to find.
Aren't you paid to find stuff out? That's why you get carried the whip.
I'm paid to find it out from people who already know.
So, what have you found out so far?
She hadn't broken yet. She hadn't said anything.
I'm going to give you a choice here. You tell me everything I need to know, or you die trying. Which didn't work out as nice as it did in my head.
He goes very, very, very white, and then he just points at Alara and goes, "All I know is that she has the answers. And that if the ambassador doesn't get them, he's going to kill me, and then he is going to hunt down anyone that's helped her and kill them."
Good, I'd like to kill the ambassador personally.
At this point, Bhajiri would like to interject, and he'd like to say, "Are you any good at your job?"
I'm good at my craft, but it takes more than just mere hours to get answers out of someone as strong-willed as that one.
Bhajiri's going to tap Edric's shoulder for a second and just like beckon him to like lean over so that they can have a hushed conversation very quickly. And Bhajiri's going to whisper to Edric and be like, "Okay, so this guy's worked for this ambassador. This guy is decent at torturing. So my suggestion is we bring him aboard and potentially utilize his skills when needed and utilize his intimate knowledge of the ambassador and the way that he works to get an upper hand if we need it."
Sounds good, but if he so much as annoys me, I kill him.
I don't think you should kill him. I would suggest, if he were to annoy you, to torture him instead.
I like your
But
style.
he might enjoy that.
Can I kneecap him? Like, if he annoys me? That's a question for the monkey.
Sounds good to me.
Then you have a deal.
Excellent. And then Bhajiri will turn to him and be like, "We have a job offer for you."
As you say that, he's already very pale, and he's nodding and going, "Yes, yes, yes, I take the job."
Excellent.
Good, it's not as if you had a choice.
He's looking at...
We will gag you whilst we're leaving, just in case we can't trust you. And if we can't trust you, I will cut out your tongue.
He's looking at the two of you in absolute terror.
Even better. That's specifically the look I was aiming for as well.
He seems to be someone who's very used to being on the delivery end of intimidation and torture, not on the receiving end.
Like, is there a steady stream of piss down his pants?
Not yet, but you're fairly certain you could get there if you tried.
Soon. In that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to now turn to Alara. I'm going to tell her, I'm going to lift you up now, and I'm going to bring you back to the ship so that you can get back to safety.
You're not entirely certain if she's heard you because she appears to be unconscious, or at the very least, very close to it.
I'm a mannered man. I just had to mention it before I lifted her up, without mentioning it. So I'm gonna like carefully wrap the jacket around her, the coat around her, so that like she's protected from the weather because it's quite a long leather coat. And then I'll like lift her up in my arms, you know.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna go. So we should probably get out of here before that annoying guy shows up, and we have to kill him now.
Yeah, let's head out. Do you need help with carrying that woman?
Actually, Glenn, do I need help with carrying that woman? Because I am not necessarily a strong man.
Let me... Oh, remind me of what your strength actually is.
My strength is 2.
+2.
Yeah.
You're struggling a little bit, but you're able to, at least on flat surfaces, carry her, but you're kind of looking at the stairs going, you might need a hand with that.
Mug, could you help me gently carry her up the stairs? Very gently.
Yes, but you're definitely buying me 3 ales in the tavern afterwards, like you promised.
Of course. I promise.
All right,
I promise,
then.
and a promise is a promise.
Good. So Mug just takes the woman and holds her like a sack of potatoes, but gently, like a gentle sack of potatoes, and carries her up the stairs.
Wait a second. The phrase was like a gentle sack of potatoes.
Yes.
Can I please vote that as the episode title?
Yeah, yes, you can.
Quote of the night. So,
Can Tarin be quickly searching for some water to try and like all while this has been happening? Can Tarin be searching for water to give to Alara?
yep, you can search through the kitchens, and you do manage to find the one barrel amongst all the wine ones that actually is water.
Cool. In which case, Tarin gives Alara some water, and I get to see what needs to be in terms of patching up.
She seems to be slipping in and out of consciousness, enough to sort of get a little bit of a drink before conking back out.
Mm-hmm.
She has injuries that you can see along the arms and up to the shoulders, and you're fairly certain would go all the way down the back. Big red welts, as if she's been whipped repeatedly.
Ooh, ouchie. Tarin's not going to do anything for now, thinking that time is of the essence, but is mentally cataloguing what might need to be done later.
Yep. Rightio. So you make your way up the stairs, or the group makes their way up the stairs, and you're now into the kitchen. Does anyone go out the front back door first?
Oh no, wait! I'm carrying. I'm carrying the lady, so I wouldn't go out first because it's dangerous.
Oh, wait, you are carrying the lady now?
Yes, because on flat land I can carry her, and I kind of don't trust you to carry her all the way because sack of potatoes.
Well, she's not aware of it anyway. So, and also I'm holding her like gently, like a sack of potatoes.
Fair.
But not roughly.
Fair. In that case, for now, I think I won't be carrying her. Oh, instead I'll have a hand on the shoulder of the torture guy.
Yep.
Oh,
and
yeah.
a pistol along his spine.
Yep.
Nice.
Alrighty, and who's first at the door?
The torture guy.
Is it possible for Whisp to deactivate said tripwire? Is that a thing?
Yes, Wisp, can I get you to do a dexterity check?
If you want to disarm it, that is.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm the nice person in this group. Well, I did create the tripwire in the first place, but you know.
Yeah.
Bhajiri has totally forgotten.
You did that to protect us.
So, Edric, I'm presuming you're just walking this guy blindly towards the trap.
Well, yes, but I'm gonna tell him tread carefully, like
Yeah.
as if it's about sneaky.
He's sort of walking gingerly towards the door with the pistol in the middle of his back, and as he makes it to the door, Wisp sort of darts in and very, very quickly and deftly cuts the tripwire in a particular way, and the trap falls before he goes through it, and then just hangs there. You see his eyes are very, very, very wide at this point, or Wisp can see this. You don't see too much. You just roll a perception check, but you push him through the door with the pistol in his back.
Wait, so I roll a perception to check how he's feeling about this?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ready up. Fair enough.
1 + 1 + 2 plus
Yeah.
perception is 3.
You nearly slip on something as you go through the door.
Good.
Bhajiri's not wearing shoes. He picked his nose with that foot.
That's gross. That took a while to land.
The rest of you make your way gingerly out that door and out into the gardens.
Yeah.
And I presume that you're going to do your best to sneak through the gardens past all the patrols.
Well, at the very least, not
Yeah.
get us killed.
Yep.
So with that, I'll ask for a single dexterity sneak check from everyone.
I'm so glad I rolled those ones earlier.
Legas. I have a good roll.
I have a very balanced roll. Plus dexterity. Dexterity was one of those skills that I knew stuff about. So that is maths makes 15.
Right, yeah, so we have...
Can I use the 3 as a stunt thing, or
yes, you can.
so that does that make it 15 then?
What you could do for that is,
Or
because
how
it's
does it
3 stunt, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll throw in advantage positioning for you, because that will effectively give you an advantage.
Okay.
Rightio. And it amuses me that, bingo, you were the worst out of the lot.
Sad face.
You make your way through the gardens, and for the most part you are able to keep some of the features like the fountains or the hedges and the rose bushes and so on between you and any of the patrols that are still walking around. You get...
May I use my stunt points for the whole "and that makes me wonder" thing to look for like anything like a specific thing that may be about?
Yep.
and this specific thing being like anything whatsoever related to beast folk such as myself, like maybe evidence that they had been here, or some trinket that is probably of them that's maybe like on display or something, or just a wondering,
You look
can't think of-
around and you see lots of different statues and artworks out in the grounds, different flowers and plants that seem to have been brought in from various places abroad, especially some that don't appear to be native of the climate that you're in. The only thing that you see that reminds you of home would be a native tree that is from your particular homeland.
Bhajiri's gonna, if he sees an opportunity, he's gonna like grab a leaf from it and just keep it to put in a book.
You sneak sort of away from the others and nick a leaf as you go past and sort of catch up towards the rear. As you go through the front gates, all of you slip out one at a time while the guards are swapping over. And as the last of you makes your way through, Bingo, you trip and clatter across the ground.
No!
And the guards up near the front door turn to look in your general direction.
How dark is it?
You're now out on the street, so it's dark enough that they probably couldn't make out your features. They just know someone is there.
But we're outside, right?
Yep, you've just slipped out the front gate and
Okay,
about
I'll
a
pull
meter.
out my coffee hip flask and pretend to swing it. Oh, what a lovely night! Ow! Oh, I like drunk stuff because I'm an adult and I drink alcohol.
Oh my god.
The guards start to approach from up on the balcony, and one of them shouts, "Oi, you! What are you doing out here? It's after curfew."
There's a curfew. That rhymes.
They sort of stop, look at each other and go, "Clear off now before the elders freaking guards come here."
Okay. Is that elder guards? Is that like really old ones?
You have the count of 3 before we open fire.
I'll just look around and make sure everyone else has got out of the way. And I'll
You're fairly...
raise my other hand and with nothing in it go, smoke bomb! And throw my hand at the ground. But there's nothing there. And just twirl my cloak and run away.
I love Bingo.
Bingo is majestic.
Bingo is really not majestic. Bingo is anything but majestic.
Bingo is a lord. Bingo is majestic.
Bingo is Nemo.
The guards don't seem to be giving chase.
Also, Bingo is the only one with actual art. Also, Bingo is the only one of us with official art.
The only one with what?
Official art.
I'll catch up to everyone else.
And that is how you escape detection from anybody.
What? Be drunk? So basically, Mug is invisible. Then.
Pretty much.
The
says
streets are dead silent at this stage. You looking both ways down the main boulevard that leads up towards where the mansions are, see absolutely no one out on the streets. Not even the original guard patrols.
It's a bit quiet, isn't it?
And we should stay quiet, and we should be quick.
Sorry. It's a bit quiet, isn't it?
Yes, Bingo. Yes, it is. And Bhajiri's just gonna like pat Bingo on the back. Oh, I can't fucking speak today. Fuck.
Is he
Too much
gonna
ice
boop-
cream.
Is he gonna boop the snoot?
He's not gonna boop the snoot. He's just pat the shoulder.
I mean, it's a metallic snoot. So...
Welcome back, Wisp.
So you're going to push on down the streets, and as you make each intersection, you glance down them and still see no one. You creep back towards the docks, and I will get you to roll or whoever's in the lead of the group, can I get you to roll perception?
Who's in the lead?
I feel like Bhajiri would be leading just because he wants everyone to get the fuck out as quick as possible.
That means Bingo's next to him. Do I get to roll one too?
Yep.
Ooh. Is this seeing or
Yeah, seeing.
praise the Lord? It's seeing. Ooh-wee. I feel like praising the Lord is not that helpful in this situation.
Bingo is neither good nor bad at seeing. Just sort of average.
Praise the Lord. Is that like with Bingo's new acquired title? Are you now praising Bingo?
Right, you look out over the docks, and you, as usual, don't see anyone out and about, and to all you know, the coast is clear.
Bhajiri's gonna like wave people and just be like, "Come on, quickly before anyone does show up."
Is the Cirrus like anything close to repairs? Because I just realized that the harbor master at the beginning offered repairs because we took down that ship.
You were aware that they were going to be doing some repairs on the ship. You did know that it was going to potentially take a few days.
Okay, so right now there's not much done yet.
At this stage, they would have been gathering materials largely and doing any minor repairs.
Shit, so my cannons aren't fixed yet.
Nope, you were still missing a cannon.
Okay. Well, I guess we board our ship then.
You make your way through the docks past the harbour master's main hut and down towards the Cirrus, just in time for a patrol to walk up the other way, and you hear "Oi, you lot, what are you doing out after curfew?"
I point to the ship and I go, "That's my lodge." You know, the thing I saw all the sailors do earlier.
Bhajiri's gonna point at Mug and be like, they got really drunk and it's been such a hassle trying to get them back to the ship and it's been a mess. Absolute mess.
I'm not drunk.
Me too.
The guard
I
captain.
think he smells very much of alcohol.
The guard captain and his group approach, but the guard captain is sort of looking between Bhajiri and everyone around him, and then turns to look at Bhajiri and goes, I have been hearing this shit all night. You have mere seconds to get out of my sight before I haul you and all your crew's asses off to the dungeons so you can explain yourselves to the elders.
Thank you very much for your kindness. And
Immediately skipping off to the ship.
Bhajiri will flick a silver coin at him.
I'm definitely not drunk.
I'm definitely not too. Do.
You hear it from the guard captain, and I'm definitely not hearing a crew member not on his bloody ship.
We could go back and forth on this for a while.
Bhajiri's, like, with one hand, he's pushing Bingo faster, and with the other hand, he's pulling Mug.
Is he guiding, like, someone else with his tail as well, or?
The tail is there for someone to grab if they really want to.
I feel like we should, like, water ski at some point behind Bhajiri's tail.
Totally.
So you all make it up aboard the Cirrus.
I'm gonna offer that Alara stays in my.
What was that?
I'm gonna offer that Alara stays in my hammock. So in the armory, because that's behind a lock, so that the torturer can't get to her. And also, like, I'll be there protecting her if anything happens.
Make a suggestion, Edric. Healing potion, maybe Alara could use it?
That's a good idea, actually. I'm gonna pull out the healing potion that I bought. Thank you for the suggestion, Wisp. And I'm gonna, like, carefully give her the potion.
Rightio. Let me pull up the details of that. Can I get you to roll a... 3d6, thanks.
Just 3d6?
Just a plain 3d6.
Oh, shit. That's 15.
Righty.
Okay, I'm starting to like these dice. Earlier they tried to murder me, now they try to heal people that I want healed.
So you tip Alara's head back a bit and unstop the potion and effectively pour it down her throat.
I promise there's no drugs in this, as far as I know.
There are definitely drugs in it. It's medicine, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see the welts on her flesh healing slowly and changing color. So the bruising is coming out really rapidly and then deepening into a purple and starting to fade into a yellow. There are still marks, but it's almost as if the amount of time that it would take to heal has just been rapidly pushed forward.
Awesome. Could I, like, ask... Wait, which... Is Wisp a female? Or is Wisp a male? What is?
Wisp. Do we have Wisp still?
Can you not hear me? Hello?
No, we can hear you.
Now I can hear you.
I'm not speaking loud enough. Yes?
Do you look like a male or a female in game?
I haven't, like, really written out, like, a proper description for her. I haven't really got to that either. But yeah, female.
Okay. In that case, I'm gonna ask Wisp to accompany us to the armory for a second, and I'm gonna hand her like a spare shirt of mine. Ask her to help Alara to get dressed.
That. Yes.
Oh, I think we just lost Wisp.
Welcome back, Wisp.
Oh, can you hear me any better?
Yes. At least I did.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Sorry, my connection's been really dodgy, so that's why I'm kind of like going in and out all the time.
No
So,
worries.
yeah. I will help you.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm gonna like hand her a spare shirt and spare clothing as well, just like so that she has something to wear. And then
It's
I'm
like
gonna
female
casually.
clothing that you just happen to have.
Hmm?
Or like
I could
just
give you
spare
some
clothes happen to
socks.
have.
Well, I specifically started to live in the armory, so I packed out my backpack that had 3 fancy shirts, like very fancy shirts.
So just a shirt she's gonna be in.
Yes.
Based on the size of it, it would look almost like a tunic on her.
And some socks from Bingo. Fabulous outfit choice.
Well, it's better than nothing, I guess.
True.
Or at least that's what I'd feel like.
Maybe in the morning we should get her some proper clothes.
Sounds good.
In this time, Bhajiri will have asked their new crew member for their name, and will be kind of showing them the ropes, in that basically telling them, you're the lowest rung of our crew, but if you prove that you are trusted and prove that you're a part of what can be your family, then you will then end up getting paid eventually. And for your loyalty, you'll be rewarded. But don't cross us, basically. You can leave at any time, as long as you don't betray us.
You can leave. We'll just take your kneecaps as a reward.
Well, Bajir is just like, well, if you need to earn your freedom first, then you can freely stay and get paid, or you can fuck off and never come back. If you don't earn your freedom, then we take your kneecaps.
Is he a slave now? Are you enslaving him?
Yes.
Prisoner.
Yes, quite literally.
Prisoner.
That's what a slave is.
Wait, so are we like trusting him to get information for us while we don't trust him to like not murder us?
No, it's more like, but Bajiri's treating him in the same way that he treated the other prisoners, but since one of the prisoners ran away, clearly he's not been giving them the clearest of messages.
Well, that means someone will have to be with him at all times then.
Yeah, that would be fine. There's other people we trust on the crew that can do that.
Yeah, do we have like actual crewmates that we trust that aren't us?
Yeah, we got Neros.
You've got a
Bajiri
Oh yeah,
trusts
we've
him,
got Flaley!
and Foley.
you've got a reasonable number of the crew that you trust to do at least their job. Flaley being one of them. It seems like a number of the crew have already made it back to the ship as well due to the curfew. Some of them are passed out and snoring. Some of them have been drinking on deck.
Merrisea make it back, or is she still out there somewhere confused in a shop?
Both.
None of you have seen Merrisea.
Oh.
Oh, damn.
She's confused in a shop.
Or stoned in a shop. Depending which shop she wandered into.
Oh, I hope there wasn't glassware.
She knows about the curfew, because if she's been taken to prison, oh gosh.
We could go check for her in the morning.
There's a good solution then. We'll just steal the prison.
Still prison. The entire prison.
We'll tie it behind our ship and
Great.
We'll liberate the prison.
that's actually what Edric will suggest. He's tied.
Yeah. Whisp and Tarin, since you had been keeping an eye on Lady Alara, you're fairly certain that, given time to rest, she will probably recover enough to be able to talk to you in the morning.
Okay. In which case, Tarin's gonna just scuttle away because it's a bit. Find somewhere. I don't know. Find somewhere on the deck, or something else that's going on, like some sort of game or drinking, because he's had far too much adventure for one day.
There's a couple of the crew still awake and playing with dice on the deck.
I'm a join as well. Like after I've put Alara to bed and locked the door behind her, I'm joining as well for the games.
Yep. The rest of you, are you going to turn it in for the night, or are you going to be up to other mischief?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
But
Mischief.
might as
Yes.
well play the games as well. They're playing games, right?
Yeah, there is a small number of crew, so 3 or 4 of them that have been playing dice on deck, and Tarin and Edric were going to join them.
Yeah.
Glenn.
Why not?
Yep.
I'm in a good mood. I've had a good wine.
Glenn, quick question.
Yep.
Instead of joining for the game, could I bring up the stuff I needed to build that thing?
Yes, you can spend some time working on it. And
Nice.
Wisp, if you wanted to begin working with the herbs and that you had bought, you could start brewing up some potions. And those of you that were intending mischief, did you have any particular plans?
Yes.
I'll let Bingo go first.
Are you sure?
Actually, I feel like best for last, so I'll Bhajiri will go and then Bingo. Bhajiri doesn't want to really do too much actual mischief, but he wants to talk to the ex-prisoners and just get things straight with them and just be like, look, what we've offered you is we've offered you freedom and loyalty. Because that one guy has run off, you didn't have any attachment to them. It's cool. Don't worry about it. You're not going to get punished for what they did. But just know that if you do something similar to that, it won't go down well because I want to trust you and I want to bring you into my family. But if you give me reason not to, it might not end well. But that's the only like bad shit he's gonna say. The rest is just gonna get to know them and just be happy and his usual self.
It takes them a little bit, but eventually they will start talking. Largely just the basics of what it's like actually being a crewman on a Shayak warship and so on. You kind of get the feeling these are lower rated troops on the ship, and quite frankly, what they're doing at the moment is probably a step up from what they were doing before.
The end of that conversation will probably go something along the lines of, don't worry, we'll appreciate you here.
Possibly.
In a very genuine way. More genuine than I just said it, like, genuinely genuine.
We appreciate you here. You're special.
So for those that are in the dice game and participating, feel free to roll 2d6. And Bingo had some plans.
I apologise in advance.
Does this ship that we're on have like a big long mast that goes out horizontally, or a plank that people walk off?
So the way it is designed is that it has a bit of a mast that connects up to a very, very large balloon. There are ropes that sort of stretch out around, away from the ship and up onto the balloon, and then over the top of it to allow the crew to actually access the balloon itself. There is a large foremast that goes out the front of the ship, and it's basically a guide for this large blimp-like balloon, so that the front of the balloon is actually tied to that.
Okay. Could Bingo get some of the rope, tie it round his waist, tie the other end to the ship, and then shimmy out along one of the big sort of sticky outy pole bits, so that he's not on the actual ship itself, but is still attached to it?
Yep.
Okay. Can he take a coffee bean from his selection and put it carefully about 2 feet ahead of him on the metal wood, whatever he's hanging off of?
Yep.
And then take the little vial of something that does a different thing with every drop.
Yep.
And very carefully pour a drop onto the coffee bean and then put it very quickly back inside his pocket and watch to see what happens to the coffee bean.
Alright, can I get you to roll 2d6 for me?
2d6. Okay. I like you.
In the meantime,
I like you.
Mug, you've rolled a 3 and a 2. The sailor who had gone before you grins as he rolls a 6 and a 3. And he chuckles and goes, I think I win this round. Would you like another one?
Aww. Yes, I will try. I will try again.
And at that, he laughs. You sound so sore for a loser at this game. Losers drink. And he holds out a cup.
That makes it all the better. Give me that drink.
He holds it out to you. And if you are drinking it, that will be a constitution drinking, thank you.
I'm chugging it down.
Alright, so a 2 and a 4, so that gets us to... Okay.
Uh-oh. Puts the bottle back in his very tight pouch and grips on tightly to the rope, waiting and watching the coffee bean.
You don't see a perceptible change in the coffee bean. So it doesn't visibly appear to change.
So what can I use my stunt points for? Because I got a 3 stunt point, right?
Yes, you did. But with a 17, it's all good. You just sculled something, and it sure as heck was an ale. It was a lot stronger than that.
Good drink. Good drink.
But it has not had anything more than enhanced your buzz.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm feeling good. Let's play more.
Right, yep.
Do they react in any way?
They're just grinning at you at this stage. It seems like a couple of them are swaying a little bit as if they've lost a few too many times themselves. Bingo, were you doing anything with your bean?
I'm gonna poke it. Does it feel different?
It feels ever so slightly different to when you put it down. Almost like harder.
Oh. Can I pick it up and hold it in my hand?
Yep.
Can I sniff it?
You sniff it and it smells even better than it would normally.
Oh! Can I lick it?
I'll say yes and roll a 2d6.
Oh no. 2 and a 6.
Radio. It is a really, really tasty coffee bean. You don't remember it tasting this good.
I really did get drugs. I'm gonna shimmy back along with my rope and untie myself, and holding this bean like it is the Holy Messiah, I will back to the deck and I will boil the kettle or the hot water over a stove.
Everyone you pass sort of gives you a second look as you go.
I'll look
Any
back at them.
of the players,
Oh no.
Bingo smells really damn good right now. Like almost like a really obnoxiously good perfume.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a very, very small cup of coffee with it and drink it.
That will be another 2d6, thanks.
God, okay. Wait, I'll use my rainbow dice. Okay, a 6 and a 3.
Brilliantly. You are having the best day ever.
Yes, I am.
Radio. Since we are losing people, did we want to actually call it here and let everybody rest up, and then we can kick off the next session with the new morning?
Sounds good.
If by the new morning you mean the drug delivery,
Yes.
then yes. Totally not drugs!
Alrighty. I'll just get a goodbye to the recording from everyone, and then next session we will kick off with a new day. Because absolutely nothing's going to go wrong with having visited the embassy, right?
We're on a flying ship, it's fine, we can just leave.
There was no witnesses at the embassy, right? I mean, we kidnapped the one witness.
Fair enough. Alrighty.
It was meant well. I've drunk a little bit.
All good.
Oh shit, we did leave someone who knows that we were there.
Potentially.
To go and enter it later. Well, he left the door open for.
Yep. That said, I'll cut the recording here. Can I get a funnel yo-ho from all my pirate friends?
Yo.
Yo!